Hey everybody, today I am making a video on preparing and very focused on packing for a ministry trip. And you might be wondering, why I would be making this video. Well, so the trip that I'm packing for right now for Honduras, many of you are already partnering with me on this trip in prayer and financially, and there's going to be more opportunities like this in the future. But as we go forward, there's also going to be opportunities to go with me. Not sure where just yet. I'm already talking to a dear friend of mine about travel back to Uganda. So there's definitely going to be more opportunity, and you might want to come along. And so there's going to be some training involved with things like that, but more information on that will come as we get closer. So this isn't just about me showing off my manly underwear. This is actually potentially a training video for the future, and for today, hopefully you'll at least find it interesting. Okay, so before we get into packing, just a couple of key things that I think are important when you're planning the trip. Actually impacts how you pack and what you're carrying, specifically like in your carry-on. First of all, always be sure you give yourself plenty of buffer for layovers. You're probably going to have them. There's usually not going to be a direct flight for you to your point of destination, so you're going to have those layovers, and you need that extra buffer because airlines run late all the time. And if an airline runs late on your first flight and you've got multiple stops, then you're going to be in a lot of trouble. You'll miss all the subsequent flights if you don't have enough buffer there. Overnight stays are not always ideal. Sometimes they're fantastic, but sometimes they're just necessary. So kind of the rule of thumb for me is that if you're going to be at a layover for 24 hours or more, go ahead and plan on getting a hotel so that you can get a good solid 8 hours of sleep and feel refreshed for the next leg of your journey. Usually if it's under about 24 hours, it may not even be worth leaving the airport. Of course, sometimes you may have a hotel at the airport. Those are usually more expensive. But most airports, you can find kind of, a quiet place off to the side somewhere with not a lot of light. If you got a pillow and a blanket, you can crash there. And then lastly, and this is just really more of a thought, depending on where you're going specifically, plan to arrive a day early. And, if you're traveling, kind of to the other side of the world, that extra day, you can use that to recover from any potential jet lag, especially if it's your first trip going that distance. But if you don't need that, then you can always have downtime, a day of swimming or sightseeing or something like that in advance of all your plans. And then worst case scenario, which this actually just happened to me going to Bali. We had my very first flight. I had plenty of buffer, so I thought, but my very first flight going out of Denver was so incredibly delayed that the next leg of my journey got completely messed up. And so I wound up there unexpectedly on a 24-hour stay, got a hotel, and came back. Well, I had that extra day buffer planned, and so I wound up arriving on time. Think about that, and then next we are going to start talking about packing. All right, so let's talk about your luggage before we get into actually what to put in it. And I'm not talking about any of the additional stuff that you may be taking, like the gifts for kids or equipment or things like that. But this is specifically regarding your stuff, your clothes, and things that you're taking for the trip. A couple of things, first of all, before we get into this is be sure you know what's included in with your travel with the airline, the size, the weight, the things like that, and what they're going to charge extra for, just so there's no surprises. One of the things that you're going to find is, so I'm going to recommend that you, first of all, always pack as light as you can, reasonably. You don't want to take 2 full-size suitcases if you can avoid it. And you always want to leave some room in your luggage, because what will happen is the majority of the stuff that you're taking over there is going to come back with you, right? Unless you're packing snacks and things like that, consumables. But you're going to probably wind up with some souvenirs, some sort of gifts for family members back home. So you want room for those things, and you don't want to go over weight limits when you pack them coming back. So I recommend, if at all possible, for a week to 2 week trip, one regular size checked bag, one carry-on, and a backpack. And let's just kind of look at a couple of things with some pointers when it comes to these things right now. First of all, these are TSA locks. I don't know if you can see those. This is an older one and a couple of new ones that I bought for my last trip. Put these on your suitcases, even on your check, not check, but your carry-on. You're going to want one on that, just in case it gets away from you. If nothing else, I mean, I'm not, saying anything bad about the people in the airlines, but, the zipper, it can come open and things can fall out, right? Airlines do not take good care of your luggage. I've had so much luggage damaged, ruined. One of my trips to Uganda, my primary suitcase showed up 2 days late, and it looked like somebody had slashed it across with a machete, and they'd kind of taped it up. Fortunately, everything was still there, nothing was damaged, but things happen. So what I'm real big on right now is the hard luggage. It does a better job, and you can see this one's beat up, cracked right there from previous trips. But it does a really good job of protecting what's inside of it. They're kind of cavernous, so you can organize them however you want, as far as not having too many compartments or whatever. And I definitely recommend go inexpensive. This one, like I said, is fairly beat up, but it's lasted a lot better than the soft-sided luggage that I've had before, more expensive luggage than I've had before. Checked bag, you can see I don't have a hard one yet for that. This guy's been pretty good, and because it's usually not checked, but carry-on. It hadn't been in the belly of the plane. I mean, they call those guys throwers for a reason, right? Things get banged up. Something to note on the checked bag, again, check the dimensions. But what happened to me in this last trip to Bali, I discovered, and I'd never flown Qatar before, Qatar says that this has to be checked, and it costs extra beyond your first checked bag. So just be aware of that. This is part of why we're going to have a checked bag and a backpack and room to move things around, that I'll get into when we actually get into the clothing stuff. But so I did, I think it was American the first leg. This went on in the cabin with me, and then next leg was Qatar, and they actually didn't make me pay for it, the going, but they did coming back, and this is considered a check bag, not a carry-on with them for whatever reason. That's the only airline I've experienced that with. Another thing, and kind of going back to the hard shell suitcases that I highly, highly recommend is packing cubes. These were really inexpensive. I've got 2 sets. They're different sizes. This is kind of one of the more mid-sized ones. These are super fantastic at helping you organize your clothes and just kind of manage your space better, get more into a small, into the space. And then, of course, last but not least is your backpack. And you want a good, sturdy backpack, not just some cheapie like you would, carry school books in, because you're going to be, this is going to replace your purse. Ladies, if you have to have a purse, put it in your suitcase. But this is going to replace the purse for the ladies. For guys, and gals, you could wind up being like a pack mule of, just hauling a bunch of Bibles around wherever you go to give away to people as you minister to them. So it needs to be really sturdy, because that gets heavy quick. So you want, good straps, lumbar support, all the little things so that you can adjust it and make it, as comfortable as humanly possible, depending on how much weight. Also, don't pack it out, because you might have to, if you get to, the Qatar airline and suddenly you've got to check this. Well, there might be things in here that you need with you on the plane, and you might have to transfer, move stuff back and forth, or throw some clothes or whatever into your backpack. So make sure you've got room. Also, I can't take this backpack with me right now, because this is the backpack that I used to go hiking, and there are some things in here for, protection against, mountain lions or bears or whatever, rattlesnakes, that would get me in a whole lot of trouble if I tried to go through TSA. So I've got, always go through anything, any suitcase, or anything, go through them in advance and make sure there's nothing in them that's going to get you in trouble. Packing considerations. So now we're getting into what to put in the suitcase, right? Or suitcases. And so you want to consider a few things when you're making decisions about what to take. Again, as I mentioned, you want to try to pack light as possible, within reason, of course, because, there's things may come up. Somebody may invite you to a dinner that you weren't planning for or whatever. The best agendas can get thrown out the window at times. And depending on what country and the culture that you're interacting with, most of the time you're going to have to be flexible. So for those of you like me that are a little OCD about that stuff, get over it, because flexibility is super, super important on a ministry trip. Things change, locations change, activities change. So you want to also think in terms of a versatile wardrobe when you're packing. Of course, the most obvious thing to consider, I would say, is climate. But you've got to consider your point of origin climate, because you've got to get to the airport. So if it's a snowstorm, you might want to wear a jacket and leave it in the car for whoever drops you off, kind of thing, if you're not Ubering or whatever. You may have the layovers if you're going to leave the airport. Another reason not to leave the airport is because that could be a completely different climate. But even at your point of destination, you may start out on, sea level and hike up into mountains. So you've got to consider those things. The other big thing for packing considerations is the culture of where you're going. And if ever in doubt, always pack clothing and err on the side of being conservative. You don't want to go into an environment and people see you coming and they're already offended. You save that for the conversation. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to show up and do anything with your behavior or your appearance that's just immediately going to turn people off. You can't control what happens, in the hearts of humans, but you can kind of guide it a little bit, right? But jeans and t-shirts without, just plain t-shirts without anything on them, usually a safe bet in most environments. And when you're packing as well, jeans, shorts, things like that can usually be worn more than once. That'll help you pack lighter. Maybe not if you're doing construction work and you get just super, super sweaty and stinky and dirty, paint all over you, whatever. So just think about those things. Think modest. For example, always take a swimsuit. You never know when you're going to have an opportunity to go swimming in an ocean or baptize somebody in a river or whatever, right? So always take a swimsuit. Well, guys, do not take a Speedo. Nobody wants to see that. I don't care how good looking you are. Nobody wants to see a man in a Speedo. Women don't want to see it. Men don't want to see it. Nobody wants to see that, okay? Ladies, always take a one-piece bathing suit. Never take a bikini, because everybody wants to see that. But that creates a potential security risk. So always go conservative with everything when you're considering too. Even cultures of certain churches, right? So in the West, there's churches where they dress up for church and they wear suits and ties. Some churches here in the West, people wear cutoffs and flip flops. But culturally speaking, a lot of the churches that you're going to visit in other countries, they're going to dress more conservatively. Maybe it's a short sleeve collared shirt kind of thing for the guys or whatever, long dress for the girls. Next, we are going to get into sort of the details of the specific items for most typical ministry trips, which you're going to want to make sure you take, and probably some things that you're going to want to leave behind. Okay, so let's talk about clothing and packing your clothing. And we won't go into all the details of every little thing that you need to take, but some stuff that's, I think, really, really important to consider when you're planning your trip. So first of all, create a checklist. I mean, that's the biggest help that I can give you, is to make sure that you've got it written down or whatever, and not try to wing it, because you'll inevitably forget something. And we'll talk about toiletries and electronics next, but just focusing specifically on clothes right now. One thing that I always recommend is everybody brings a pair of sturdy hiking shoes, because these are, whether you're going out in the field or you're going to be in some European city with all the comforts of home, you can wear those all over the place. Something very comfortable that you can wear for a full day of hiking. Those are going to probably go in your checked bag. Okay. Now, flip-flops. Always have some flip-flops. You need flip-flops no matter what or where you go, unless I guess you're going to someplace super, super cold and there's zero chance that you'd wear them. And I'm going to tell you to put those in your carry-on. Okay. And while we're on the carry-on thing, you'll have shoes on. Okay, pair of flip-flops and 2 outfits, 2 changes of clothes need to go in that carry-on. And here's the reason why. Even if you have a direct flight, your luggage, your checked luggage, could wind up anywhere in the world. Okay, it's happened to me where my luggage arrived 2 or 3 days late. One of my brothers coming from Ethiopia here, his luggage wound up in Arizona. Okay, I'm in Colorado. No idea why. He didn't go through Arizona either. It was really bizarre. And so he was on a 2 or 3 day delay. And so that's why you're going to have the check bag, 2 changes of clothes, as well as some of the other things I'll mention later. But one of those things being a warm, like pullover or hoodie. Even if you're going to a warm climate, you might need it on the plane. Your pillow, things like that. Some of your electronics will go in there as well. And then also always remember, but just in case that becomes a check bag and it goes from a carry-on to being a check bag, that you want to have some room in your backpack in case you got to juggle stuff around. So you'll want to pull at least one of the changes out of there and put it in your backpack. If you can get both, even better. So always take a swimsuit. Again, we've talked about that. Culturally appropriate, no Speedos, no bikinis. If you're going to a warmer climate, cargo shorts are a big thing for me. So I'm going to be gone for a week. I'm going to take 3 pair of cargo shorts, going to visit the kids in the field. Hopefully I can wear shorts. If I can't, I won't, but hopefully I can wear shorts. Normally, with the activities that we might be doing, playing soccer or whatever, and the kids making me look like an idiot because they're always so much better than me. I would normally, probably wear basketball shorts, but again, the cargo shorts, they're sturdier, a little bit more modest, plus all the pockets and carry more stuff, kind of thing. So that's my goal. But as I mentioned before, jeans and solid color t-shirts, with no pattern, no print on them, usually can't go wrong there. And that's what I'll be wearing out to visit the kids. Probably just cargo shorts. And actually, here's a thing that's kind of important. So the Monday, this is just depends on the circumstances, right? And the situation. If you're going to be ministering or going to a church, you want to have an outfit that's appropriate for that specific church. If you're going into a business or an office type environment like I am, that Monday I'm going to take a change of clothes. It's slacks, or if you can get away with it, I recommend khaki pants. They're a little bit more sturdy, a little bit more versatile, but maybe slacks are appropriate for where you're going. I'll also be wearing like long sleeve, probably collared shirt. But when we go visit the kids, and I think they're going to be expecting this, I'm pretty sure. But even still, just some big bald white guys showing up. I mean, we've got to protect our kids, and if I'm there, I'm going to be like, wait, who is this guy, right? Okay, and we've had I think it was our first trip to Uganda. We were going out through we were in some pretty remote spots, and so we're going out through and just coming across people's homes and ministering to people that we met along the roads, and just walking around, right? So we actually came up on a small school, and as we were approaching the school, the kids started screaming, and I'm like looking around, going, "Oh, what's going on? Is something behind us or something?" And I was really shocked, but the teacher said that the little ones hadn't seen me, a guy like me, before, and freaked them out. And so she was able to calm them down, and They invited us into the school. We went in and sat down on the floor with the kids, and they're just constantly touching me. And so, you never know what you're going to encounter, right? So, one of the things that what I'll be wearing to visit the kids is polo shirts, collared shirts. Again, more conservative, but with our organization logo. And that way, as we show up, it's clear that we're representing the organization. We're not just some random people showing up that could be, a potential danger to the children. However, with that in mind, if we go exploring or we go to dinner or whatever, I won't be wearing something like that when we're just out in general, because we're a rather large organization. There could be people, and there's seedy people, sketchy people all over the world, right? Everywhere. And maybe they've heard of the organization, and maybe they have the wrong idea. And so seeing that maybe I represent a large organization could create a security risk. So, it's just, you've got to be wise, with your decisions on what you wear and where you wear it. All right, moving on. Socks. Now, I really like the athletic socks that come up under the ankle, because they're just comfortable. But when I'm going out, I don't know, what the environment's going to be like going out visiting the kids. So I'm taking some longer hiking socks to cover my ankles. Just there's bugs, snakes, maybe, probably not, but you just never know. And so I'll probably also grab some longer athletic socks as well to take. But I really like these hiking socks. They're super comfortable, and I don't mind wearing them with my tennis shoes, going back to shoes, wear your most comfortable for the trip, for the travel. Wear your most comfortable closed-toed shoes. Don't wear the flip-flops, because your feet are going to get stinky, and people on the plane are going to be irritated with you. But you'll have them with you, because with your carry-on, in case you've got a layover and you want to change socks and walk around in some flip-flops for a while. But the most comfortable pair. So I'm going to take a pair of really sturdy tennis shoes, not the ones that I'm wearing now, because I'm hoping, running around with the kids. And so those will probably be my most comfortable pair. That's what I'll wear on the trip. But you're going to have way more socks than you need, most likely. You'll see I've got a pretty good pile here, and this doesn't even include all of the ones that I'll probably take. The wisdom of Lieutenant Dan, always wear clean socks. And so have extras more than you need. And the same thing is true, and this is my stack of underwear. Meemaw, the wisdom of Meemaw. She used to say, always wear clean underwear in case of an emergency. I never thought to ask her what that emergency might look like or what she was thinking there. But for a week-long trip, I'm probably going to have 2 extra pair of undies. 2 weeks, I'd probably do 3 extra pair. You never know. Something happens, you get wet, you get muddy. I don't know. But always have a couple of extra pair. So for the flight, have, a pullover, a hoodie, or something like that. If you don't need it anywhere else, you might need it there. And you can wear that if you need to, or you can tuck it in your backpack. It's better than a blanket. And I know they have blankets on the planes, but it's just more versatile, especially if you've got a layover and you're going to be in the airport where it might be cold. You can't take that blanket with you. Or, you've got your blanket, lose it, gets dirty, whatever. So recommend something warm like that. Also a rain jacket, unless you're going someplace where there's absolutely no chance of rain. And this would go in my carry-on if I think there's really much of a chance of rain where I'm going. Otherwise, it would go in my check bag. It's probably going in my carry-on. Last but not least on clothing, kind of ties into the underwear thing, is sleepwear. So on most ministry trips, you're going to be rooming with somebody at some point, and maybe a lot of people. You could be in a bunkhouse kind of situation. So think about what you're going to wear, lounge wear, or whatever you want to call it, sleepwear, and be considerate to your roommates. For me, I'm taking basketball shorts and t-shirts because, again, of versatility. I might get to work out at the hotel that we're going to be staying at, or if it's a neat area that I want to go for a walk before breakfast because I'm an early guy, something like that. But I can also use those as basketball shorts and t-shirts as sleepwear. It's just easy, convenient, warmer climate, so I don't have to worry about, anything more than that. Okay, so let's see where we're at so far. Carry on. We've got flip-flops. Again, We're going to be wearing our most comfortable closed-toed shoes. So we'll have the second set of shoes. One of the things that I did actually, or kind of thought that I was doing, was intentionally overpacking a little bit. And so in my carry-on, I've got an additional pair of shoes. These are just super, super comfortable and versatile when it comes to not really dress shoes, but kind of that in between, between, you know, a pair of athletic or hiking shoes. So just in case, don't know that I'll need them, but they go great with shorts, jeans, khakis, other things that I've packed. I have, so here's our packing cubes. I've got, this one is a full change of clothes all together, intentionally packed this way for the overnight layover that I have. Then I've got some extra clothes in another packing cube, which includes an extra pair of undies, an extra pair of socks, a couple extra shirts, one of my pairs of cargo shorts. I'll be wearing jeans on the trip, and a comfortable shirt, so I can hopefully rewear those if needed. And then so far, I've also got in here my rain jacket rolled up. I'll have a hoodie more than likely in here as well, along with some of the electronics that we're going to talk about next. Now coming over here to, so that's my carry-on. I think I referred to it as check bag by mistake in the last segment. That's my carry-on. Hopefully it will stay carry-on. If it doesn't, one of the things with these packing cubes, if I do wind up having to check this, is I can just boom, grab this and throw it in my backpack as long as I leave room. Super, super easy. And I can, of course, I can always put some additional things in from my backpack in here. Check bag, we've got the hiking shoes that I mentioned earlier. One of the things that I tend to do is when I'm stacking and trying to get, you know, things organized, is put socks in the shoes that go with the shoes. So I've got a pair of hiking shoes in each of these. I've got, these are my sort of dressier shoes for at least the first day that we're going to be going into the office. And then again, with the packing cubes, smaller ones, all my underwear are in one. All the rest of my socks are in another. Of course, I'll have, in both of these actually, more so in this one, I'll have my toiletries, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And then coming over here, and this is where a little bit more of what I thought was overpacking, but you can still see I've got a ton of space on this side. This is fairly normal looking for me, just how I organize. These are the larger packing cubes that I have, and there's two of them. There's one here, one here. This one's got all of my, let's see, all of my shorts and t-shirts in it. That includes undershirts. So I thought about possibly, just for additional versatility, bringing some extra collared shirts. With collared shirts, typically I personally wear undershirts, just a comfort thing, and you know, catches the sweat and stuff, especially in warmer climates. So that decision added, you know, that not only the extra collared shirts, but the extra undershirts as well. So I thought I was kind of going maybe even a little overboard. I grabbed it, I think even an extra pair of pants, but this is all of pants, jeans, and collared shirts, okay? And so it didn't turn out to be too much. Again, I still have electronics and toiletries to go in here, but I'm looking really good on the packing side. And one of the things I happen to like about this suitcase is because for whatever reason I've never bought a scale, and then, you know, you get to the airport and you gotta weigh, and so, but the suitcase seems to always pack out at about 50 pounds, like within, you know, usually very close to that. So should be fine. And of course I can always shift stuff around if I have to. You know, shoes can go in here, the smaller cubes can go in here. And again, it's like if you get to the airport, you know, I've seen people, they've got their suitcases all spread out everywhere, and there's clothes flying everywhere. They're trying to readjust for the weight so they don't get charged extra. Well, all I gotta do is grab something out of here, depending on how close it is, and then boom, it fits right there. So again, highly recommend the packing cubes, and that's where we're at so far. So now let's look at the everything else, the toiletries, the snacks, and the electronics. Okay, let's try to wrap this up. All the other stuff, and I may have mentioned some of this previously, but I want to make sure that you've got some of this is more important than others. So let's start here. Always take your Bible. You're going on a ministry trip. You're going to minister the Word of God. You need a Bible, okay? And your phone may not cut it. Even your choice of Bible has some cultural connotations. So this is what I call my field Bible. It is a Bible, and yes, that is duct tape. It is beat up, and there's a lot of highlighting and a lot of bookmarking and a lot of writing in this Bible. In certain countries, this is not cool. This is considered highly disrespectful in certain countries. In fact, sitting a Bible on the floor is considered highly disrespectful in certain countries. So know your culture and where you're headed, and you might need to take both. One that's more pristine for ministry, and then have your study Bible where you're highlighting stuff as well. Of course, other books, entertainment that you might need on the plane. Download things to your phone or your tablet. If you're taking a tablet or a laptop, be mindful of those things because they can get stolen, and you want to be very careful with those. But as long as we're talking about electronics, I think I may have mentioned, clear. That's what I've been doing. I've been clearing off my phone, making sure I've got plenty of space for pictures and videos. I'm taking, this is a pretty cool selfie stick that I found that also acts as a tripod. Probably got this on Amazon. I don't know, about a lot of stuff on Amazon. That's another thing. You're going to want to make sure that you charge all your electronics like the day you leave. In-ear or over-ear, whatever, or take both. I've taken both. You're going to want something with noise cancellation. A lot of that has to do with being on the plane and people talking and screaming kids and things like that, and being comfortable on the plane. Books to read or books to listen to downloaded. Other electronics, some super important stuff here. You're going to want to take a power strip. I found this one just this last year. Absolutely love it. It's got USB outputs as charging ports as well, and it's got a retractable cord. It's manual retraction. It was pretty inexpensive, and just really like this guy. This is it's pretty compact. This is going to go in my carry-on more than likely, as opposed to my check bag, because we have the overnight stay. Otherwise, it would probably go in my check bag. Other things, super important things. Excuse me, power adapters. These are really inexpensive power adapters. Depending on where you go, you'll either have that. You're probably not going to have your Western American connections, or this one has been the least that I've encountered. It's mostly probably been this with these two prongs, and then this one. They have these where you can get them, and it's like one little brick. The newer stuff, these are older. But it's one little brick that you press the button and the right stuff comes out. Here's another version that I've got along the same lines, and this actually has the adapters you plug in, and then it's got an additional little power strip with it. So a lot of options there, but you're definitely going to need those when you're traveling internationally. Let's see, also, since we're on the topic of electronics, you're going to want your power bricks and the appropriate cords for all the electronics you have, and then super important as well, if you're going to be going out in the field, is a rechargeable battery pack. This one I just recently got. It's got a couple of 3 ports, and then it's got a little flashlight, which I don't anticipate ever really needing. It's got the solar panel, but this particular one, they just tell you the solar panel is going to take forever to charge. That's more for an emergency. They do have some that have fold-out solar panels. Those are pretty cool. They charge faster. This one was a little bit more sturdy and had a higher output than my previous one that had the fold-out panels. So I'm gonna kind of test this one out. I think it's gonna work really well. Also, snacks. When you're going out in the field, little meat sticks like this or little individually packaged nuts and things like that are really good to take in your checked bag because you may start out really early, you may not get a lunch break at all, and a lot of cultures eat dinner really late. So having little snacks, individually wrapped snacks like that are great. You can also share them with people. Excuse me, along those same lines, a filtered water pitcher or water bottle with a really good filtration rated system. This is for an emergency. You're going to drink bottled water pretty much wherever you go. You're going to use it for your coffee. You're going to use it to brush your teeth. But you go out in the field for, you're out for a long day. This could come in handy. And so what I'll do is, like when we go out, I'll take the bottled water, put it in here. But then if I get stuck somewhere and I have to get water out of a stream or something like that, this should protect me. It should help. Make sure that you take sunscreen. Make sure that you take bug spray. Depending on where you're going, you might want to take pepper spray, and that's not necessarily to spray people. A lot of places there's wild dogs. Other things along the line of toiletries. This is a little trick that I learned. When you're about to eat something that's questionable source, chewing a couple of Pepto chewables right before, coat your stomach, might help a little bit. No guarantees. I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying it might help a little bit and kind of take the, if nothing else, take the edge off of potential stomach issues. Along those lines as well, if you've got prescription meds, don't forget those. Make sure you pack any prescriptions, ibuprofen, Imodium, antihistamines, little things like that, a small med kit, super important. This is a massive pack. I won't be taking this whole thing, but flushable preferably. Doesn't have to be necessarily, but flushable baby wipes or what do we call them, wet wipes. This is great for anytime you can't take a bath. Doing like what we would maybe call a spit bath, whether it's on the plane if you've got an 8, 10, 15-hour flight, or out in the field, just kind of refresh. You want to wipe off your face, wipe off your chest or whatever, just your neck. It feels good. Anything bladed, pocket knives, whatever, make sure those go in your checked bag, otherwise you will lose them. I don't know what the rules are on razors for shaving, but I would put those, fingernail clippers, everything, make sure it goes in your checked bag, and do a final check, a double last check of your backpack. I mentioned TSA locks on your, not only your check bag, but also good to have on your carry-on because it can become a check bag, so just to be prepared there. This is a neck pillow. I've done some experimenting with this. For airports, when I'm trying to rest or on the plane, this was a highly recommended one, and it pops out and expands. But honestly, I like small little just camping pillows or the little pillows, kind of like what they give you, provide on the airplanes. But this one's okay, I guess for a neck pillow. It's hard for me to sleep on a plane. I like to kind of like lean forward like this, and just kind of prop myself up, and then, I'm able to doze a little bit, but, sleeping on a plane is pretty miserable, no matter what you do. Extra pair of, glasses doesn't hurt. Sunglasses is good. These are prescription sunglasses for me, so pretty important there. Okay, so last but not least, documents. Okay, make sure you have your passport, any shot records. This is just a little it's supposed to be whatever, safe, and everywhere I go I have to pull my passport out anyway, so I don't know that this little folder thing has really been all that valuable. But you know, if you've got any sort of shot records, you know, depending on where you're going, you might have to do like yellow fever to get back into the country or whatever. But your travel itinerary printed out with you, including hotel information, you could be asked for that. If you have to have a visa, know that in advance and make sure that you get your visa well in advance. They're usually good for extended periods, longer than you're going to be staying. So get it in plenty of time, because some countries take longer to process than others. And then have an extra copy of all your paperwork and put that someplace else. So this will either always be in my pocket or in my backpack. But if I lose it, if my backpack disappears or whatever, heaven forbid, it'll be a lot easier if I've got copies of everything in another location. So I'll put those in my check bag most likely. But don't forget your paperwork. That's super, super important. Cash. You always want to take some cash, smaller bills, 5s, 10s. You may have to exchange it, but a lot of places, they prefer US dollars. Know the exchange rate. Make sure you know the exchange rate, and that if you do exchange money, that you're getting a good deal there, because people will take advantage of you. Also, credit card companies. I take minimum number of credit cards, but you need to let your credit card companies know you're traveling, so that you don't get stuck in a situation where you don't have cell phone service, trying to get on the phone with them when you're making a critical purchase. So let them know in advance of your travel dates, which I still need to do. I think that's it. So this video is going to wind up being really, really long, but I hope and pray that it's been really, really good, really encouraging, and at some point will be really helpful. So let me know if you have any questions about anything, taking anything on a trip, or how to pack it, or whatever, in the comments. I would love to hear from you, and you know, share ideas with you. You may know some things that I don't know. I'm always looking for better ways to do things and to make the trip easier, more efficient, to get through, you know, TSA and customs and all that fun stuff, so that when you're on the ground, you can focus on the job and the people that you're ministering to. So anyway, that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and stop this, and again, be blessed, and let me know if you have any questions.